The universe is listening, but not how you think before your lips even part. Before your voice forms a single sentence, before your hands come together in prayer, the universe has already responded. But not to your words, to your frequency, to your emotions, your intentions, your focus, and most of all, to the vibration of your unconscious mind. You see, this isn't manifestation. This is deeper. This is ancient. This is Jungian reality, where energy is the language of the soul, and attention is the currency of creation. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Let that hit. Because here's the brutal truth. Every day you are speaking to the universe, not with affirmations, not with vision boards, but with your daily thoughts, your buried traumas, your hidden patterns, your suppressed desires, your emotional reactions, your fear, your resistance, your shame. And the universe? It doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what your energy believes is safe. That's why some people work hard, pray louder, and still feel stuck, because their shadow is louder than their words. So what if I told you, it's not about asking the universe for anything, it's about aligning with what it already knows you are. This isn't magic, this is mirror work. This is psychological precision. This is how the unconscious creates your destiny, and you don't even know it's happening. But today, we make it conscious, we turn the lights on, we take back control. You're not just going to speak to the universe, you're going to speak its language, the language of energy, the language of intention, the language of radical awareness. Welcome to the Jungian method of manifestation, where you don't just attract your reality. You finally understand why you've been attracting the wrong one. Now let's decode the hidden signals. Let's show your unconscious who's boss. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Attention is the first language of the universe. Let's get one thing straight. You are not a passive observer of your reality. You are a living, breathing transmitter, and your attention is the signal. Where your attention goes, energy flows, patterns build, reality responds. Carl Jung didn't see your mind as a storage system. He saw it as a magnet, a psychic force that pulls toward you the exact experiences that mirror your inner frequency. So every time you sit with a thought, every betrayal, fear, or what if, you're not just thinking, you're transmitting. You're casting votes for the kind of reality you want to live in. You're sending out an unconscious message to the universe. Send me more of this. And here's the cosmic catch. The universe, it's neutral. It's not judging whether your focus is good or bad, helpful or harmful. It doesn't operate on morality, it operates on mirroring, on resonance. So when your energy is soaked in pain, when your thoughts spiral in self-doubt, when your emotions are locked in fear, the universe doesn't protect you, it reflects you. It says, "Oh, this is the signal, let me match it." That's why people stay stuck, not because they're cursed, not because their prayers aren't powerful, but because their attention is fractured, scattered between the pain of the past, the fear of the future, and the shame of the present. Attention is not a small thing. It is the first language the universe understands. It is the origin point of every synchronicity, every opportunity, every manifestation. When you focus on love, love expands. When you focus on fear, fear dominates. When you focus on lack, more lack arrives. When you focus on what's missing, you train your mind to never see what's already there. The unconscious doesn't care what you want, it only cares what you repeat. And what you repeat becomes what you attract. This is why Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your unconscious beliefs, feelings, and fixations are shaping the reality around you. Not your wishes, not your affirmations, not your fake positivity, but your attention. Where you place it and how long you stay there, that's the architect. So here's the truth bomb. If you want to change your life, don't just change your habits. Don't just change your goals. Change what you give your attention to. Stop feeding your pain. Stop nurturing your insecurities. Stop rehearsing your trauma like it's a bedtime story. Instead, turn your gaze toward wholeness, toward healing, toward creation, not survival. Your attention is your vote. Your vibration is your signature. Your focus is your frequency. And the universe, it's listening, not to your words, but to what you linger on in silence. That's the real prayer. That's the real manifestation. Where you place your attention is where you place your power. And power always calls reality to respond. Now imagine what happens when you take your power back. Chapter 2. Your emotions are your vibrational signal. Carl Jung didn't take emotions lightly. He didn't treat them as obstacles to logic or symptoms of weakness. He called them the chief source of all becoming. Emotion is the chief source of all becoming. Carl Jung. Let that settle in, because what if emotions weren't something to manage, but something to understand? What if your emotions aren't a distraction from your spiritual growth, but the very language your soul uses to shape reality? You see, your emotions are not side effects, they're not noise. They are vibrational signals, they are broadcasts to the universe. Every time you feel something deeply, a heartbreak, a silent frustration, a burst of awe or hope, you are sending out a frequency. One that precedes your words, one that overrides your affirmations, one that overpowers your intentions if left unacknowledged. You can say, "I want peace." But if your nervous system is vibrating with suppressed rage, if your breath is shallow from unhealed fear, if your body is still remembering a trauma you never spoke aloud, the universe doesn't hear your words. It hears your signal. Because the universe is not responding to what you say, it's responding to what you are, to what you feel at the core, to what you believe beneath the surface. And emotions are the bridge between your inner world and the outer mirror. So here's the dangerous trap people fall into. They suppress, they avoid, they bypass. They tell themselves, think positive. Don't dwell on the past. Just be grateful. And yes, gratitude and positivity are powerful, but not when they become a mask for real pain. Not when you're using them to cover up emotional wounds that are still bleeding beneath your smile. Because the universe doesn't fall for fake peace. It reads energy, not intentions. And if you're vibrating with emotional chaos, but preaching calm, your results will always reveal the truth you're hiding from. That's why the first rule of Jungian transformation is this: you cannot lie to the unconscious, and you cannot lie to the universe. They speak the same language, emotion. So if you want to speak clearly to the universe, start by speaking honestly with yourself. Don't fake forgiveness. Don't spiritualize your sadness. Don't numb your anger with hustle. Don't medicate your emptiness with distractions. Don't post positivity when your inner child is still screaming. Instead, sit with it, name it, honor it, let your emotions rise, not to drown you, but to free you, because emotions are energy in motion. They're meant to move, not be caged. They're messengers, not enemies. And when you listen, when you allow the storm to pass through you without judgment, you don't lose control. You gain clarity. You become emotionally fluent, and that fluency is what upgrades your vibration. But here's the boundary. Honor your emotions, but don't build your house inside them. You are meant to feel, but not to become the feeling. Let anger visit, but don't let it redecorate your soul. Let sadness speak, but don't let it write your story. Let fear whisper, but don't let it guide your decisions. The goal is not emotional perfection. The goal is emotional alignment, where your internal truth becomes clear enough that the universe has no choice but to respond to your clarity. Because once your emotions align with your intentions, your energy becomes coherent. And when your energy is coherent, the universe echoes it back with power. So don't silence your feelings. Speak through them, heal through them, and let them teach you what your mind cannot yet explain. Because when emotions move, energy flows. And when energy flows, the universe listens. And when the universe listens, reality begins to shift. Not from your words, but from your vibration. Chapter 3. The universe only hears the present moment. Here's the paradox no one teaches you about speaking to the universe. When you say, "I will be rich, I will be healed, I will be loved," the universe doesn't hear your desire. It hears your lack. It hears the vibration of delay, not fulfillment. The echo of absence, not the energy of arrival. It translates your someday into, right now, I am not. And the universe? It doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to frequencies. Carl Jung, the master of the soul's blueprint, once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." Because your reality is not created by chasing futures, it's created by embodying presence. And the most powerful truth of all, the universe only speaks one language, now. It doesn't recognize time. It doesn't operate on your calendar or your 5-year plan. It doesn't process next year or once I get there. It only amplifies what you're energetically living right now. So if you say, "I hope I find peace soon," but inside your nervous system is screaming, "I am still unsafe," guess which message gets broadcast? If you say, "I want love," but your body is vibrating with fear of abandonment, the universe hears, "Love is not safe for me." This is why your life doesn't shift by asking. It shifts by becoming. You don't manifest abundance by chasing it like a beggar. You manifest it by walking like it's your birthright. Speak like you already have it. Breathe like it's already yours. Think like you've already arrived. Feel like nothing is missing, because it isn't. You're not attracting from the future. You're activating what already lives inside you. Your healed self is not ahead of you. It's waiting within you. This is not delusion, this is energetic precision, because the universe mirrors back the emotion you carry in this exact moment. And that emotion? It's your announcement to reality. So when you walk like you're already whole, when you speak like you're already chosen, when you feel love, joy, clarity, now, you are literally shifting timelines. You're collapsing the gap between desire and manifestation. You're no longer waiting, you're vibrating. That's the secret. Reality bends for those who refuse to beg. It flows for those who embody the outcome before it arrives. Because your soul already knows. Your unconscious has already seen the destination. The only question is, will your energy catch up to what your spirit already believes? And if the answer is yes, then stop delaying your power with future fantasies. Speak from the now. Live in the now. Feel it now. Not because you're trying to trick the universe, but because you've finally remembered. You are the universe. And when the inner self vibrates with truth, the outer world can't help but echo it. Because the universe isn't your genie, it's your mirror. It doesn't care how bad you want it. It cares how deeply you embody it. So every moment you act as if it's already here, you're collapsing time, you're upgrading timelines. You're becoming the signal. And the signal is everything. Chapter 4. Expand your consciousness. Shift the signal. You were not sent here to merely react. You weren't born to just survive the waves. You are here to generate energy, to design timelines, to speak the unspoken language of creation itself. Because the truth is, the moment you stop reacting and start becoming aware of why you react, you are no longer just a player in this game. You become the architect of the board itself. Carl Jung didn't just teach psychology. He taught alchemy, the art of transmutation, the sacred power of turning unconscious pain into conscious power, of taking the raw materials of suffering, trauma, rejection, fear, and forging them into wisdom, clarity, and creation. And that process? It begins the second you expand your consciousness. You see, every time you react without awareness, you are repeating an old code, a program written by your past, a trauma buried so deep you mistake it for personality. You defend, you withdraw, you chase, you sabotage, you please, you perform. And in those moments, you are not responding to the universe. You are responding to your unhealed memory of it. But what happens when you pause, when you slow down, when you notice the pattern instead of being ruled by it? You break the spell, you collapse the old code, you reclaim the pen. Because every ounce of awareness you bring to your thoughts, to your emotions, to your behaviors, becomes a frequency upgrade. And the more consciousness you bring into your system, the more your signal shifts. And the universe, it's not responding to your effort. It's responding to your signal, not to your hustle, but to your vibration, not to your words, but to the frequency of your awareness. Because the universe doesn't follow force. It follows frequency. It bends toward coherence. It aligns with clarity. It reshapes itself around those who live with presence, not panic. That's why when you expand your consciousness, you don't have to chase anything, you don't have to prove anything, you don't have to scream your desires into the void. You simply vibrate them, and the universe responds like a mirror, clean, precise, instant. Your signal becomes so clear that manifestation stops being a wish. It becomes a side effect of your embodiment. Jung knew this, that true power was never in domination, but in awareness. The more aware you are of your internal state, the more control you have over the external game. So stop shouting, stop begging, stop over-explaining to the universe what you want. Instead, upgrade your signal, refine your frequency, expand your consciousness. That's your true language. That's your true magnetism. That's your true magic. Because once you become conscious of who you are and what you carry, you stop asking the universe to give you things, and you start attracting everything that matches the level of your self-awareness. You don't bend reality with fear. You command it with clarity. And that is the mark of someone who's no longer reacting to life, but reprogramming it. Chapter 5. Your intuition is the voice of the universe. The universe doesn't speak in English. It doesn't speak in your native tongue. It doesn't use words, grammar, or polite explanations. It speaks in frequency. It speaks in vibration. It speaks in synchronicities that line up so perfectly. You'd call them coincidences if you weren't paying attention. Carl Jung called this inner phenomenon the inner voice of the self, the intuitive intelligence buried beneath your ego, the quiet whisper behind your loudest logic, the soul signal that always knew the answer, even before your mind had time to ask the question. And this voice, it's not always loud. It doesn't yell. It nudges. It pulls. It makes your body respond in ways you can't explain. You'll feel it in your chest, a tightness, or in your gut, a drop, or in your skin, a full body yes that you can't rationalize. Intuition is the sacred intersection between your soul's truth and the universe's reply. It's the invisible yes that rises when you're aligned, and the sudden no that freezes your spirit, even when the world says, go. If a decision feels heavy, not complicated but heavy, draining, suffocating, emotionally sticky, that's the universe telling you, this isn't your path. And when a decision feels light, when your heart opens, when your body feels electric, expanded, alive, that's your soul moving into resonance with divine order. It's not always logical. In fact, it often contradicts logic, because logic is built from the past. But intuition, it's coded with your destiny. That's why you felt uneasy around certain people, even when they smiled. That's why you knew something was off before anything bad happened. That's why your soul pulled away, even when your mind wanted to stay. Because your intuition sees beyond the moment. It's already in the room where the consequences live. And it's whispering to you, this energy doesn't belong to your future. So why do we ignore it? Because we're trained to trust everything but ourselves. We chase advice. We seek approval. We overanalyze and overthink until we disconnect from the only voice that actually knows. But here's the breakthrough. The universe doesn't answer with thunder. It answers with feeling. It answers through the signs you keep brushing off, the subtle signs, the angel numbers, the right person calling at the right time, the missed exit that led you to something better, the book that showed up just when you needed it. These aren't random. They are responses. You are not just living in the universe, you are in a conversation with it, and your intuition is the translation device. So don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it away. Don't delay the decision your soul has already made. When your intuition speaks, it is the universe saying, I've already heard your question, and this is the answer. You don't need signs when you start trusting the signal. You don't need external proof when your inner compass is calibrated. Because once you start living by intuition, you don't chase alignment. You become it. You become the very vibration that attracts truth. You become the frequency that requires no translation, because you and the universe, you're speaking the same language now, and it begins with trust. Chapter 6. Repetition reprograms reality. Let's get real for a moment. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you repeat. Read that again. Let it hit. Because what you want is conscious. But what you repeat, that lives in the subconscious. And it's the subconscious that shapes 95% of your reality. Carl Jung, the pioneer of shadow work and subconscious transformation, made it brutally clear. What you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. Your subconscious is not a poet. It's not impressed by motivational quotes. It doesn't care about the one time you felt inspired and said, "I am powerful, I am rich, I am healed." It listens to what you say repeatedly, but more importantly, it listens to what you feel consistently. You could say, "I am enough," but if the dominant emotional loop in your system screams, "I'm unworthy, I'm not lovable, I'll fail again," then guess what? The universe doesn't hear the words. It hears the signal, because manifestation isn't about what you want. It's about what your subconscious believes is safe, and beliefs are not built in moments. They are built in patterns. Repetition is how the brain rewires. It's how the nervous system learns new safety. It's how energy shifts, not with dead words spoken once in a mirror, but with living truth spoken so often that it becomes a new emotional default. You don't just say it, you feel it. You become it. You let it etch into your nervous system, until your energy expects it, until your frequency broadcasts it, until the universe has no choice but to reflect it back to you. This is not fake it till you make it. This is vibrate it until it manifests. Say it, feel it, visualize it, act from it, anchor it in your body, link it to emotion, make it undeniable, because repetition creates reality through neural repetition, rewiring your brain, emotional anchoring, vibration plus belief, energetic patterning, broadcasting consistent frequency, and the subconscious is always listening, not to what you say once with hype, but to what you echo 1,000 times in silence. That's why your inner dialogue matters more than your outer declarations. If you say, "I will succeed," but mentally whisper all day, "I'll probably fail," then the universe hears fear, and fear gets amplified. But when you decide to reprogram, to take control of your internal loops, to turn repetition into a sacred ritual, you become magnetic, not because of luck, but because of energetic alignment through consistency. So here's the formula. Speak the truth you want to live. Attach emotion to it. Repeat it so often that it becomes your new baseline. Let your body, mind, and energy catch up to the vibration you've been avoiding. This is not about hype. This is about energetic identity. Because the universe doesn't give you what you perform for. It gives you what you've rehearsed into your being. So if you want to attract something different, you have to broadcast something different. And the only way to change the broadcast is to change the repetition. Repeat the new you until the old one forgets how to survive. Repeat the vibration until it's no longer a stretch to believe. Repeat the truth until the universe bows to your alignment. Because repetition is not just mental, it's energetic. And when your energy repeats truth more often than fear, your entire reality starts obeying a new law, the one you finally believed you were worthy of. Chapter 7. Silence is the universal prayer. You've been taught that prayer is noise, that it's asking, pleading, begging. You've been told that to connect with the divine you must speak, you must do something, say something. But Carl Jung, the master of inner alchemy, understood a far deeper truth. In each of us there is another whom we do not know. He speaks to us in dreams and tells us what we do not understand. That unknown voice inside you, it doesn't speak in words, it doesn't scream for attention. It waits in silence. And silence is its only home. Because the real language of the universe is not spoken, it's felt. And silence, that's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of self. When you sit with yourself, truly sit, without scrolling, without numbing distractions, you enter a sacred vacuum, a space so rare in this overstimulated world that the universe rushes in to meet you there. This is where alignment begins, not in the performance of prayer, but in the receptivity of presence, because in that silence, your walls begin to drop, your ego quiets down, your projections fade, and what remains is truth. You don't have to ask. You don't have to scream. You don't have to manifest harder. You simply need to listen to yourself, to your body, to the whispers between your thoughts, to the emotions that rise when there's no noise to drown them out. Jung knew this, that the greatest transformations don't begin in chaos, they begin in stillness, because the soul doesn't speak with urgency, it speaks in resonance. And when you finally stop talking long enough to listen, you'll hear it, that subtle knowing, that forgotten voice, that part of you that already knows the way. And in that moment, the universe has something real to respond to. Not the voice of your fear, not the echo of your conditioning, but the frequency of your purest self. This is why monks sit in silence for years, why mystics walk the earth in stillness. Because in silence you don't lose yourself. You meet the original version of you, the one untouched by noise, doubt, or demand. And the irony? In that quiet, your prayers are the loudest. In that stillness, your frequency is strongest. In that emptiness, your soul becomes full. So stop thinking you need to do more to be heard. Stop begging the universe for signs while ignoring the silence that is the sign. Just sit, just breathe, just listen. Because in that moment of stillness, you'll realize you were never waiting for the universe to speak. The universe was waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear it, and when you finally do, everything changes without a word. Chapter 8. Synchronicity is a response, not a coincidence. You've brushed it off before. You've called it weird timing. You won't believe what just happened. You chalked it up to chance. But what if it wasn't chance at all? What if it was the universe replying? Carl Jung didn't just notice these strange alignments, he named them. He gave them shape, depth, and sacred meaning. He called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidences with no causal connection, but divine precision. It's when the outside world starts echoing your inner world. When you think of someone, and they message you. When you journal your pain, and hear your exact words echoed in a podcast. When you're ready for healing, and the perfect book falls off a shelf. Not randomness, alignment. These moments are breadcrumbs, clues, whispers, signs that you're not just living life, you're interacting with it. Because when your thoughts and emotions become aligned, when your frequency sharpens, your consciousness expands, reality bends around that signal. You become a magnet, not through force, but through coherence. Here's what most people miss. Synchronicity doesn't come from asking for signs. It comes from becoming the signal the sign can respond to. It's not about superstition, it's about spiritual resonance. Jung believed the psyche and the cosmos were deeply interconnected, that your inner world was not separate from the outer world, but a mirror of it. So when you shift inside, when you heal, when you become conscious, when you awaken, your environment begins to respond. That's why the right people show up. That's why patterns break. That's why timelines accelerate. Not because the world is changing, but because you did. Synchronicity isn't proof that something out there is working for you. It's proof that you've tuned into the part of you that always was working. You just couldn't hear it over the noise. And now? The signs are louder, the signals clearer, the rhythm undeniable. Because when your mind, body, and soul say yes, the universe replies, "Let me show you what happens when you're finally in flow." But here's the key. Don't chase synchronicity. Don't get addicted to the signs. Don't make the external symbols more important than the internal shift. Instead, notice, acknowledge, align deeper, and keep going. Because synchronicity is not the destination, it's the confirmation. It means you're remembering your power. You're listening to your soul. You're finally walking the path that was always meant for you. So the next time the universe gives you a wink, don't say, "What a coincidence." Say, "Message received," because when you live in alignment, the signs never stop, and life itself becomes a sacred conversation. Chapter 9. Shadow work is unfiltered dialogue with the universe. Let's get brutally honest. You can't lie to the universe. You can say all the right things, post all the quotes, pray with poetic language, but the universe doesn't hear your words. It reads your wounds. Carl Jung said it with surgical precision. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Because light isn't born from avoiding the dark. It's born from owning it, sitting with it, integrating it. That's what shadow work is, a raw, unfiltered conversation between your truth and the universe. The shadow isn't evil. It's not shameful. It's just the part of you you've been taught to reject. The jealousy you silence, the rage you swallow, the guilt you mask with productivity. the insecurities you bury beneath fake confidence, the heartbreak you laugh off but never grieved. These are not glitches. They are unprocessed prayers, and the universe hears them, louder than your intentions. Because you don't attract just what you want, you attract what you've refused to face. Your vibration is not just made of love and light, it's made of every unspoken emotion you carry in silence. And that's where the distortion begins. You ask for abundance, but carry beliefs of unworthiness. You pray for love, but vibrate with fear of abandonment. You visualize success, but embody the energy of self-doubt. This is the energetic contradiction the universe responds to, and that's why manifestation doesn't land and it loops. But when you start doing the real work, when you sit with your pain, not to fix it, but to feel it, when you stop performing high vibration and start practicing radical honesty, that's when the transmission clears. That's when your vibration stops sending mixed messages. That's when your soul stops leaking energy. That's when the universe says, finally, someone real enough to receive. Because shadow work isn't about becoming good, it's about becoming whole. And the moment you own your darkness, you gain access to your full energetic power. Your manifestation becomes precise. Your frequency becomes magnetic. Your desires don't get blocked by shame. They move because you've stopped hiding from yourself. This is the Jungian path to true co-creation, acknowledging the rage without becoming it, holding the fear without obeying it, loving the parts of you that were told they're unlovable, seeing the shadow and saying, you belong. Because when your inner world becomes coherent, your outer world becomes clear. So stop reciting affirmations with a shaky soul. Stop pretending to be healed when your inner child is still weeping. Stop saying, I'm fine, when your frequency says otherwise. The universe doesn't need your performance. It needs your truth. And truth, even when it's messy, raw, ugly, or painful, is the most powerful vibration you can emit. So don't be afraid of your shadow. Sit with it, learn from it, integrate it. Because when you do, you become a fully aligned transmitter, and what you ask for finally arrives. Not in fragments, but in full. Chapter 10. Your reality is a living symbol. Let's drop the illusion. Your life is not just happening at random. Your reality isn't just a collection of events, people, and patterns stitched together by coincidence. Every part of it, the objects you see, the dreams you have, the emotions you suppress, the timing that shocks you. It's all symbolic. Carl Jung didn't see life as a flat map of facts. He saw it as a living language of symbols, a dreamscape your soul walks through while awake. He believed that the universe speaks through archetypes, not words. It whispers through imagery, patterns, numbers, recurring themes. These aren't aesthetic accidents. They are cosmic communication systems. Think about it. That broken mirror that made you pause, not just shattered glass, but a reflection of inner fragmentation. That same number appearing on receipts, clocks, signs. Not a glitch, but a patterned echo from the collective unconscious saying, pay attention. That one dream you keep having over and over again, it's not meaningless, it's a messenger, delivering what your conscious mind can't yet grasp. Jung wrote, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakens. And that's the key. To awaken, you must learn to decode your world, to stop looking at reality literally and start seeing it symbolically. Because everything in your external world is a mirror, a projection, a symbolic reflection of what's unresolved, repeating, resisting, or ready to transform inside you. Your relationships? Symbolic mirrors of your inner wounds and healing timelines. Your environment? A living map of your current beliefs and subconscious expectations. Your triggers? Not annoyances, but arrows pointing to places within you still asking for light. This is not metaphysical fluff. This is emotional geometry. This is spiritual literacy. This is what Jung spent his life decoding. That the universe is always speaking, but only the symbolically literate will understand what it's saying. So here's the challenge. Stop treating reality like a to-do list. Start treating it like a mystic language, because when you interpret your life symbolically, you realize nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. And nothing is meaningless. Even your pain is a symbol. Even your delays are metaphors. Even your losses are initiations. You are not just living life. You are walking through a dream written by your own unconscious. And when you finally begin to speak back in the same language, to align your actions with symbolism, to read energy the way others read news, to trust signs the way others trust logic, you won't need constant guidance. You'll be guided from within. That's how the universe understands, not through explanations, but through alignment with archetypal truth. So speak symbolically, live symbolically, interpret symbolically, because once you do, the universe won't just speak to you, it will sing through you. Chapter 11. Repetition is ritual for the subconscious. The subconscious doesn't speak English. It doesn't care about grammar, motivation, or even intentions. It speaks through one thing only: repetition. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. What you repeat becomes your belief. What you believe becomes your emotion. And what you emotionally broadcast, that becomes your reality. So if you're not repeating what you want to live, you're unconsciously practicing what you don't want to keep. Your daily thoughts, repetitions, your internal dialogue, repetitions, your reactions, triggers, fears, and insecurities, they're not fixed, they're practiced. And if your identity is built through repeated survival responses, you can reshape it through repeated conscious choices. Because the subconscious isn't loyal to truth, it's loyal to what's familiar. And if pain is familiar, it'll keep choosing pain until joy becomes something it recognizes. This is why one-time affirmations don't work. It's why journaling for a week doesn't rewire decades of programming. Because your nervous system doesn't trust what it hears once. It trusts what it hears 1,000 times. So if you want to change your life, you don't need louder goals, you need quieter rituals, daily decisions, repeated signals, frequencies that become so normal to your body. Your reality has no choice but to match them. That's what repetition is. Not a motivational hack, but a spiritual practice. A sacred ritual that teaches your soul to trust what your ego used to fear. When you repeat new thoughts, you create new identity. When you repeat new emotions, you create new baseline frequencies. When you repeat new actions, you create new timelines. Because repetition isn't boring, it's the magic behind your evolution. Carl Jung knew that we don't just think, we imprint. And whatever gets imprinted into the subconscious gets played out in reality. So if your subconscious believes, I'm not enough, I'll always be abandoned, success is dangerous, no manifestation can override that. Until you repeat a new truth loud enough, long enough, and lovingly enough that your inner world starts choosing it on autopilot, that's not mental programming, that's emotional healing. So the next time you say, I've already written that affirmation, or I've already visualized that once, ask yourself, have you repeated it until it feels safer than the old story? Have you anchored it in your breath, in your posture, in your tone? Have you fed it to your subconscious enough to become your default frequency? Because that's the difference between forcing change and becoming change. Repetition makes the new familiar and the familiar real. And when it's real on the inside, the universe has to reflect it. Because energy doesn't lie, repetition becomes energy. So speak the truth you want to live. Repeat it in silence. Repeat it in movement. Repeat it in the way you walk, breathe, speak, and create. Let your rituals reprogram your identity, because the real shift doesn't happen when you say something once. It happens when you've said it so many times. Even your shadow believes it. Final chapter. You are the universe talking to itself. You're not here to chase the universe. You're not here to beg it for signs, blessings, or validation. You are the universe, temporarily forgetting, and every desire you carry isn't just ambition. It's remembrance. A sacred signal from the highest version of you, calling you home to alignment. Carl Jung didn't just teach the psyche, he taught the soul. And his deepest teaching was this: the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Let that land, because you're not praying to something outside of you. You're listening to something deeper within you. When you say, I want love, it's your soul saying, I'm ready to be seen. When you say, "I want abundance," it's your soul saying, "I'm ready to stop apologizing for my light." When you say, "I want peace," it's your soul saying, "I'm ready to come home." Every desire is not a request. It's a soul-encoded memory of what's already yours. So when you speak to the universe, you're really speaking to the most expanded, divine, whole version of yourself. Not asking, but awakening. Not begging, but aligning. You are the creator. You are the frequency. You are the answer you've been waiting for. So speak clearly, feel deeply, align truthfully. Because when your inner world becomes coherent, the universe doesn't just hear you, it echoes you. It reflects you through timelines, through people, through signs, through delays that protect you, through challenges that evolve you, through synchronicities that remind you. You were never lost. You were just remembering. The universe isn't something you unlock. It's something you become fluent in, and the key to that fluency is self-trust, self-clarity, self-alignment, because once you start vibrating from truth, the outer world has to respond. So stop looking for signs. Be the signal. Stop waiting for permission. Be the permission. Stop wondering if you're ready. You are the readiness. Every chapter of this journey was not teaching you something new. It was reminding you of something ancient, that you are the mirror, the magnet, the transmitter, and when your signal is aligned with who you really are, you no longer chase life. You create it. So here's your final reminder. You are not a seeker. You are a speaker of sacred energy. You are not here to find your path. You are here to remember it with every step you take in alignment. When you walk like you're worthy, when you speak like you're sovereign, like when you love like you're whole, the universe doesn't reward you. It recognizes you, it mirrors you, it obeys you. So this final chapter isn't an ending. It's an ignition, a rebirth, a new baseline frequency where everything begins to flow. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became it. Your desires aren't random. Your path isn't broken. Your energy isn't too much. You are the universe, waking up to itself, one vibration at a time. And from this moment on, your signal will never be the same again. The universe has already heard you before this video even began. The universe already felt your frequency. It already knew what you were seeking, because it was your energy that brought you here. You didn't stumble on this message by accident. You summoned it. Now that you've remembered the truth, and don't forget it, every breath you take, every thought you repeat, every feeling you hold in your body is part of a sacred dialogue you're already having with the universe. So speak with clarity, feel with intention, walk like your energy is casting spells because it is. You are not waiting for a response, you are the response. If this activated something deep within you, don't let it stay silent. Share this with one soul who's ready to wake up. Comment below. I now speak to the universe with clarity and power, like this, to imprint your new vibration into motion. Subscribe, not for content but for transformation. This isn't entertainment. This is soul reprogramming. You're not just a viewer. You're not here for passive wisdom. You are a living transmission. You are the signal the universe responds to. And your next manifestation starts the moment you align with this truth. Not someday, right now.